Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the cheerleader from Singapore, part 5. This is the tragic life of Tristan Bailey. After police would confiscate what they found at the Fucci house, they would begin diving where they found the body of Tristan Bailey. And there they would find a knife with the end of the tip broken off. With the information that they had gathered and all the evidence, they would charge Aiden Fucci with second-degree murder. Shortly after his arrest, the police would learn that Aiden Fucci had, in fact, had a girlfriend, and she would call the police and tell them that Aiden Fucci was a very scary child, and would talk about how on numerous accounts he had had 2 knives that he had nicknamed Picker and Poker. Picker being the one that he ultimately killed Tristan Bailey with. And he would at times pretend like he was stabbing his girlfriend, or he would sneak up behind her and pretend to slit her throat. She would also go and talk about that he would also draw very morbid cartoons, such as in this picture here, and would glorify killing people. His girlfriend would also tell the police that a month prior to killing Tristan Bailey, he would take her on the roof of the house, and he would tell her that he had made plans of killing someone very soon. It is also at this point that he had told his girlfriend that his plan was, after killing someone, that he was going to play completely innocent and go on continue killing. And when people started feeling that he was behind the killings, he had planned on faking his own death so he could actually kill more. Trey Absher would actually recall the night of the 8th to the police and would tell them that he had no idea that Aiden had planned something so grim. He would later tell the police that Aiden had pressured him to calling someone, and he eventually had called several other girls until they would settle with Tristan. And Aiden would basically make it seem like they just wanted to hang out and smoke weed. And Trey Absher would say that Aiden and Tristan would go outside multiple times to go smoke and come back inside. He would later say that he eventually would pass out around 1 when Aiden and Tristan would actually leave the house. He would also tell the police that he did know about Aiden's desire for knives and murder and different things like that, but he never would have thought in a million years that he would actually go through with something like that, or even try to do it to one of their friends. He would often recall and say that he would have never thought that Aiden would have killed Tristan in a million years. And looking back at it now, he feels solely responsible because he was the one that made the call. He would later say that if he had known what Aiden's plans were, he would have never made the call at all. With the information that the police had on Aiden at this point, they would change his charge from a second-degree murder to a first-degree because it was very obvious to the police at this point that the murder was actually premeditated. After news would be released about who had actually killed Tristan Bailey, the Fuccis would actually have to relocate to escape the mounting death threats that they were receiving. Crystal would eventually serve 30 days in prison for tampering with evidence. On February of 2023, Aiden would go to trial for the murder of Tristan Bailey. And on March 24th, 2023, they would arrive for sentencing. And the Bailey family would give a very emotional statement to Aiden Fucci about how his actions had greatly destroyed their family. Alexis Bailey would make a very emotional statement when she would arrive and bring a jar with a bag full of little teal hearts, as it was Tristan Bailey's favorite color. She would have a total of 114 hearts and would proceed her statement by placing 1 heart in the jar one at a time. It was a complete silence, and the sounds of the little pebbles hitting the jar was deafening. sending a very powerful and emotional message to the courtroom.
This jar now holds 114 stones, one for each of the 114 stab wounds that my sister had to endure. It was 1 hour and 42 minutes between when my sister was last seen and when Aiden Fucci was next seen, running out of the woods holding his shoes because his feet hurt. It's funny that such a simple statement can bring such anger. Aiden Fucci could show compassion for his sore feet, yet had nothing to leave for my beautiful sister. Aiden Fucci, you have destroyed me. You have destroyed my family. You have destroyed Tristan's friends. You have destroyed the community that we live in. You have caused a divide amongst friends and neighbors that should have never been. You have taken away my baby girl, my past, my present, my future, by your calculated, vile actions. I will never be able to watch her perform on stage with her cheer team. I will never see her win Summit or Worlds. I will never have our special weekends away, just the two of us. She will not be able to graduate high school or college. And her father will never be able to walk her down the aisle.
Other than Forrest and Stacy and Alexis making very emotional statements in the courtroom, Brittany, the daughter that was away on college, would also make a statement and look at Aiden in the face and say, "You overpowered a 5'3", 13-year-old girl. How much more of a coward can you be?" She would also go and tell in the courtroom that Aiden's actions have not only destroyed her, but have also created problems and ruined her marriage because of the amount of post-traumatic stress and devastation that it had caused the family. The Fuccis, including Aiden, would eventually write an apology letter to the family, but they would refuse the apology. And honestly, who would blame them? Judge R. Lee Smith would eventually sentence Aiden to life in prison. He'll be eligible for parole in 25 years. But I personally believe Aiden Fucci is exactly where he needs to be. Although Aiden Fucci would never tell anyone why he killed Tristan Bailey, when I look back at it and think about it, only one story comes to mind, or one person comes to mind. In 2001, the FBI would catch Gary Ridgway for killing over 50 sex workers during the 80s, that they would give the alias the Green River Killer. When he was caught, the feds would actually ask him about all the murders he had committed. And he would start by saying that when he was just a teenager, around the age of 14 or 15 years old, there was a boy that lived near him that was quite younger. And one occasion when they were walking in the woods, Gary would say that he would walk up and take a knife and stab him. The boy would actually survive this attack, but he would just stab this boy for no reason. And when the feds asked him, "Why would you do such a thing?" he would just look at them and tell them, "I just wanted to know what it felt like."